Hello, guys. Welcome to this wonderful episode today on why your paint looks dull and how to fix it. Yes, ever looked at your paint and thought, why is this so dull? Or worsened, you understand? Why does it shine like plastic when I wanted a soft, smooth matte? You understand? You're not alone. This video is for every painter, decorator, or aspiring paint manufacturer who is tired of guessing and failing at getting the perfect shine or matting finishes. You understand? So, but before we dive in, I want you to join our Paintpreneur Telegram group. It is a free and is filled with experts and beginners just like you. The link is going to be in the description below. You understand? So now let's move into the deal of today. You understand? Let's deco the truth. Paint shines comes down to three powerful factors. You control these factors and you control the finishes. So first is your binder to water ratio. You understand? This is the first factor. You understand? Your high binder, like acrylic, equals to glossiness. Your high binder equals to glossiness. Sorry about the noise. You understand? This is a complex, so it's a bit noisy. You understand? So now your low binder equals to matte. Your low binder equals to matte. And let's talk about your satin paint. So you're looking at about 30 to 35% of binder. Hope you understand. You understand why your matte. I'm talking about paint too. Your matte. You're looking at about 20 to 25% binder. Yes. So now we are in the number one, which is your binder to water ratio. So now we'll move over to number two, which is your pigment volume concentration, which is your PVC. You understand? So your more pigment equals to more matte. You understand? So let me get this off so we'll go into the process. So all right, we'll move over to the second, which is the pigment volume concentration. You have to master this stage. You understand? Number two, which is your PVC, pigment volume concentration. So now, your pigment volume concentration simply means more pigment equals to matte. Please hope you're understanding. The more pigment equals to matte paint. You understand? Matte paint. Less pigment equals to your satin paint, which simply means glossiness. You understand? Less pigment equals to your glossiness. You understand? So now we're talking about the surface smoothness. You understand? So your smooth wall is equals to light reflective gloss, while your rough is equals to scattered light, which means your matte wall. You understand? So this influenced by the fillers and the dispenser you use. So if your filler is more smoother, which is your calcium carbonate is more smoother, you can now, it's going to have a light reflective glossiness. But if your filler is rough, it's not smooth, you understand, you're going to have a scattered total reflectance, which is the matte, you understand, which leads you to the type of calcium carbonate. Your calcium carbonate is your filler. You understand? We have different types of calcium carbonate. You understand? We have the grades. I'm going to make a video where I'm going to enlighten you how to pick the right calcium carbonate, which is your filler for specific paint that you want to produce. You understand? So the real magic is in your chemistry. So let me show you what this the chemicals will achieve in a different formulation. You understand? So now, all right, so now we're going to look at to boost shine. You understand? That's when you say to boost shine, we're talking about paints that fall under shining paint. We're talking about stucco paint, we're talking about satin paint, we're talking about any other paint that you want to be reflective. You understand? So the first chemical is your acrylic. You understand? Your acrylic, pure acrylic. Please don't let anybody deceive you. Please, pure acrylic. We have different types of acrylic. I'm going to enlighten you more on that in another video. I don't want to overjam your head. You understand? So this acrylic adds body to the paint. You understand? And not only body, it adds body and flame to the paint. You understand? So the next chemical is your butylene glycol / your texanol. Yeah, they have different functions. A sheen agent, coalescent agent, a sheen agent but not a coalescent agent. You understand? This makes paint to have easy flow and application. So you see why you can add the both of them. You understand? This is a coalescent and a sheen agent. This is a flow agent and a sheen agent. All chemicals have 2 to 3 functions. So this chemical, this 2 chemical, it's smooth application. Add smooth application in your shining paint. You understand? Then we'll move over to the next chemical, which is your MEG. So people call it ethylene glycol. So the function of this chemical is that it improves flow and gives that stable sheen. It's already telling you that it's a sheen agent and it improves flow. So when you add it to your paint that you want for it to be glossy, you already know that it's going to make it, it's going to improve the flow and it's going to give you that sheen agent. So let's move over to the matte agent. So we want to kill the shine. This is to boost shine. So we're going to kill the shine. We don't want that shiny paint. We want matte paint. It's not everybody that likes shining paint, even if it's that glossy. You understand? So now we want to kill shine equals to matte paint. So now we want to kill the shine. We don't want it so glossy. So what are the chemicals that are going to kill the shine? Because even if, remember what I told you when you're dealing with your PVC, you understand? So now your pigment volume concentration, which is your PVC, pigment volume concentration, simply means the higher your pigment volume concentration equals to matte paint, the lower pigment volume concentration equals to high shine. And what is your pigment volume concentration? Your pigment volume concentration simply means the type of calcium you're using, the type of fillers that you're using, your pigment. You understand? Satin your titanium dioxide is under your pigment, because in most cases, in some paints, you don't use your calcium, you use only your titanium dioxide. You understand? So now we want to kill the shine paint, which is equal to the matte paint. You understand? We don't want that matte paint. And remember, we have 2 types of matte paint, which a lot of people are not familiar with. That is why they have issues. We have the normal matte paint. We have the normal matte paint, And then we have the matte eggshell. So what is different between these two paints? The matte paint is just the normal flat matte paint. It is flat when you see it. It doesn't have a transparent reflectiveness. Then why the matte eggshell paint has the light reflectiveness? That is why you see most of this big brand, you see that the matte paint is in between satin paint and emulsion paint. hope you're catching up, you understand why the normal matte paint is just flat. It is like emulsion paint, but not emulsion paint. You understand? So there is a reason why these two paints are different, and that is what you're learning today. So the reason is that now we want to kill the shine, which is the matte paint. You understand? So your PVC will make you achieve these two types of paint to enable you educate your customers on what products they need, depending on the price that they can be able to pay to achieve each of these paint. So it gives you an upper hand to retaining your customers because you're going to explain these two types of paint to them. You understand? So now, okay, so we want to kill the sheen, you understand, of this matte paint, which I just explained about the matte paint and the matte eggshell. And don't forget that when you hear the word matte paint, it is not only matte paint. In stucco, we have matte stucco paint. You understand? In emulsion, we have matte emulsion paint, which is the flat emulsion paint. We now have washable emulsion paint. If you're not aware, for those of your clients that cannot afford to buy satin paint, there is washable emulsion paint. So when you hear the word matte, it is general. It's not just because it's matte paint. So don't get confused. You understand? That is why I say paint manufacturing is not all about production process. You have to understand the chemistry aspect, the formulation aspect, and the branding and so forth. You understand? So now, let me not waste your time. So now, when we're talking about killing the sheen, we now look at matting agent. Yes. So now, the matting agent falls under your matte powder. If you're not aware, yes, we have the liquid, but the liquid is not really necessary because when you add it, it's not going to give you that matte if you want your matte eggshell. You understand? So for this, your matte powder, you understand? This your matte powder. It's not necessary you add it in your matte paint, but it's necessary you add it in your matte eggshell paint because it has this reflectiveness. So now we'll now move over to our PVC. After the matte eggshell paint, another thing you need to learn is more, which I've just explained. You understand? More PVC. We all know what our PVC is, plus thickener. When we're talking about thickener, we're talking about our liquid paste thickener and our powder paste thickener because we have different types of thickener, you understand? So now, if you add pigment, you understand? When you add your pigment, this is your PVC, more pigment plus your thickener, it lowers the shine, which is killing the shine. Please hope I'm communicating with you. You understand? But remember, too much thickening ruins flow of paint, which a lot of people don't understand. You want to make a paint too thick, it ruins the flow. The paint is not going to flow very well. So when you want to have a matte paint, these are your two types of matte paint. You understand? The normal matte paint and your matte eggshell paint. You understand? So if you want to achieve a normal matte paint, know that you can produce your normal matte paint without your matte agent because you want the normal matte paint, and of course you can add your sheen agent. You understand? Which is your normal matte paint. It's going to give you the normal matte flow. But if you want your matte eggshell paint, you want it to be reflective and give you that matte. The main reason you hear the word matte eggshell, it has the flat in the paint, and it has this reflectiveness. That is where you now add your matte agent. So don't go and kill yourself and say, I want to produce matte paint, Coach Glina, what is the matte agent? A lot of you, I don't respond to you. I'm sorry about that. The reason I don't respond to you is because which matte paint do you want to produce? Because this matte paint, the matte eggshell, is more expensive than matte paint. So if you want to go and kill yourself to get matte agent and produce and add in your matte paint, you are ruining your profit. You're not going to make money. So that's why I tell you, I keep saying it, paint production is not all about production process. It's all about the chemistry process. So now, for your matte agent, beautiful, you can add it because you want to produce your matte eggshell paint. And then remember, more PVC plus thickener equals to low shine. You understand? So when you add more calcium and thickener, it's not going to shine. So when you come to your matte agent, you reduce the calcium and put your matte agent little as well, and then your thickener, and then you add your acrylic binder and your other sheen agent. Of course, you're going to get a matte eggshell paint. You understand why you see people that my matte paint, this matte paint is shining, mine is not shining. This is the whole grammar. You understand? So now, here's a blunt truth. Most of you are making rocky mistake that sabotage your paint. And what is that mistake? Number one mistake is, I have to be fast. I don't want this video to be too long. So number one mistake is too much thickener in your satin paint. Yes, too much thickener in your satin paint. Please take notes. It is wrong. You understand? So now, mistake number two. We're still going to talk about the acrylic to water ratio, which leads us to mistake number two, which is your wrong binder. You understand? So wrong binder to water ratio. You understand? So now, more water equals to less glossiness. You understand? And satin needs control, which you're going to be using like 6 kg acrylic to 5 liters of water. Yes, the main reason you're going to be using 5 liters of water is that, and you ask, Coach Glina, how is my fillers, which has my calcium carbonate, how is it going to blend well in this satin paint? Remember the new method, which we talked about in the 12 days emotion paint challenge. If you missed it out, I'm going to drop the link in the description. Go and watch it and learn the new method on how we can, first of all, dissolve your fillers, which is your powder, and then add it into your production process to make the paint more smoothy and more flowy. You understand? And the reason it's going to work for 6 liters of acrylic, like I said, and 5 liters of water is because you're also going to add other sheen agents. And this sheen agent is going to boost your shine of your satin paint, not only your texture. No, there are other, of course, if you're my student or you're watching this video, congratulations to you, because I'm going to give out the free, it's not free, you understand, but I'm going to give this particular new method of satin paint and how you can achieve 100% glossiness even after the paint is dry. I know some of you are going to say, I don't need it because I know how to produce satin paint and my paint is superb. Go and visit that house that you applied your satin paint and check if the satin paint is still shining after 1 month or 3 months or 5 months. You understand? So to my student, I'm going to give all of you this new satin paint formulation for free. And you know how you're going to do it. I'm going to drop the announcement in my paid student support group, and you guys are going to reach out to my DM one after the other, and I'll personally give you the the satin paint formulation for free. And this is the latest of all. I'm not sure you're going to have it anywhere. You understand? And you know, of course, you're going to get the total achievement you want for your finish. So now, mistake number 3, cheap fillers. Yes, cheap fillers are always affecting your sheen paint, you understand? So you have to make sure your calcium carbonate is finally grounded, you understand? Because cheap filler kills the shine of your paint. If you, from the beginning of this video to now, you hear me talk about the type of calcium you're supposed to use, you understand? So you go for high grade, highly refined calcium carbonate. For those of us that in my country, Nigeria, they call it the foreign calcium. You all know it. To carb or your omara, you can use it. We have up to 5 of them, you understand? So let's do a quick one. Let me just show you a peek on what this formulation is all about. And also, in your satin paint, you understand, you have to increase your titanium dioxide. Why? For your matte paint, you increase, not increase, or not that, it's just that the calcium carbonate is going to be higher than the titanium dioxide. And so for satin paint, 20 liters, you can make use of your water, 5 liters, and remember your acrylic is 6 liters, and then your titanium dioxide should be about 3 kg. In most cases, some people use 4 kg, but 3 kg is okay, because remember that you're using an original titanium dioxide, and too much of titanium dioxide also affects the shine of a paint, and which most people are not aware of. So we have other sheen agents, the latest in town. We have about I think about 4 or 3, but let's move over to Texano, because I'm just giving you a peep of the formulation. 150 gram. Let's use the word gram. Let me don't confuse you. 150 gram. You understand? Then we don't add calcium carbonate in our satin paint. So we'll move over to thickener. So our thickener should be, remember, because we don't have calcium carbonate, we can go with 300 grams or 200 to 150 grams, depending on how you want your satin paint to be. Remember, too much thickener reduces the flow, spreading rate, and all of that. Also, let me chip in this Jenny Pour. It's not advised to use Jenny Pour in your satin paint. The reason that too much wetting agent reduces the sheen of your paint. So you can say, for those of us that want to add Jenny Pour, you can say Jenny Pour 50 gram. Please, too much of your Jenny Pour affects the sheen of the paint. Your disperse agent, your carbon PT, 50 gram. So we still have other chemicals that you need to add to achieve the glossiness. So this is just a peek of how the latest satin formulation is going to be. Of course, if you're my student, you're going to get it for free. You understand? So we have other chemicals, and I know most of you will be asking, Coach Glina, with all these chemicals and the other one that you did not review whether your student is going to get, is this paint going to be affordable? Yes, the paint is going to be affordable, and you know we always have 3 different grades of paint. You understand? So we have the higher grade, the premium grade, and the standard grade. Of course, you're going to learn how to produce all those 3 types of paint to fit in the 3 brackets customers, because we have 3 different categories of customers. We have the one that are ready to get the high quality paint. We have the one that are in between. They just want something luxurious, but they can't afford it. And then we have the low ones that they just want the standard ones and they want it washable and all that. And these 3 grades are going to be amazing. You understand? So now we'll move over to the matte paint 20 liters formulation. So you can just have a peak, you understand, 20 liters. So start, first of all, your water is going to be 6 liters. You see a difference here. And your acrylic is going to be 5 liters. We're talking about eggshell, not the ordinary matte paint, you understand. And then we have a titanium dioxide, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 is okay because we still have matte agent. Matte agent 300 grams, and then we have our calcium carbonate. Please, a different type of calcium carbonate, you understand, not the locally type of calcium carbonate, because you want to achieve matte eggshell. So we're going to go for 7 kg. Yeah, and our thickener should be let's say 500 grams. It's a bit high. You understand? But we want a matte shell. So let's just say 300 gram to 400 gram. I don't want it too high because most of you might not know how to mix it. You understand? So 600 gram might be too high, but that should go. But it's a bit high because it's 20 liters. So 300 gram. You can actually use the same. If you're using 150 for satin, you can use 200 to 250 grams for your mat. And of course, we now have the sheen agent. Yeah, you're going to add the sheen agent, but not all of them. Just one. And you understand? So you can add the sheen agent, 200 grams. And of course, we have other chemicals. We have antifungi, we have our preservative, we have our defoamer. I didn't list them yet. The reason I didn't list them is because I'm just giving you the peep. I'm giving you the layout, the most chemicals you need to have an idea for you to achieve the matte eggshell paint and the luxurious satin paint, you understand? And for my students, of course, you're going to have this ebook for free. I'm going to give it out to my students because I want them to also have this formulation. Why are they my students if they can have this latest release invention formulation from me? You understand? So this is it. Then when you want to talk about the normal matte paint, remember, you're going to do away with your matte agent. You don't need to add your matte agent. You only need to add your calcium carbonate, and for your acrylic, you're going to reduce it to like 4 liters. You understand? And you still leave in this process, you decrease your water to 8 liters. So you can see the formulation and you see the way that the proportional for the reduction of the chemical is strategically, so it doesn't affect, you don't misuse your chemicals. I keep saying, and I tell my students, when you don't know how to calculate your chemical costs, you're going to lose. So even if you want to reduce that chemical, you should be able to know how to reduce the chemical in a rightful way, because your chemical is your profits. And that is why you're a paint manufacturer. I hear a lot of people ask, is paint manufacturing lucrative? Of course, paint manufacturing business is lucrative. Forget what anybody tell you. There's ups and downs in every business. Even if you go and produce a paint for lesser price, or even if you venture into bakery or you venture into household cleaning agent, you produce a soap and for 500 and then you want to sell it for 1,000 and you get your profit. You understand? If you don't know how to get customers to buy your product, I keep saying it, your product is going to be with you in your shop or in your house. So it's not about learning how to produce or being a manufacturer. It's about learning how to get the customer rightfully and learning how to cost your production rightfully and learning the chemistry. You understand? I'm going to drop a video on the 5 pyramid of business if you've missed it, so you can go and watch it. You understand? So, and that is it for this formulation process. You understand? So with this formulation, you will stop guessing and start producing professional results even from your backyard. You understand? You'll be able to produce this total wonderful paint. You understand? So with this formula, you will stop guessing and start producing professional results even from your backyard. You understand? Like I said. So if you found this helpful, that's this tutorial. Don't stop here. We've created a free training series where you will learn how to start your paint manufacturing business from anywhere you are in the world. You understand? And of course, you're going to master the chemistry. The link is going to be in the description. You can tap it now and begin through it. You understand? You're going to learn from the chemicals, how to start, how to create your name and all of that. Like I said, it's going to guide you. Go straight to the description and start watching. Now, You've already know the secret behind the shine finishing and the matte finishing. But if you're ready to start making money and you want to turn this into a career, let's talk. You understand? So click the link in the description to book a free clarity call. You understand? And of course, you can enroll in our premium paint manufacturing courses where I'll help you launch, scale, and dominate your own paint brand starting today. You understand? So how are you going to go about that? It is very, very, very important. So hurry up to the description and reach out to me and let me guide you properly. Like I used to tell my students, and I'm also bringing it to my community. Paint production, paint manufacturing is not all about production process. And I hear a lot of people ask me in my DM, hey, Glina, is paint manufacturing lucrative? Paint manufacturing business is very lucrative. Rather, is lucrative. I cannot lie to you. It has been my business over these years. And the reason a lot of people find it difficult in making a profit or rather growing in paint manufacturing business is because they don't know the chemistry side of paint manufacturing. They don't even know the costing, the calculation. The only thing they know is just to come and produce the paint and they sell. If you tell them, I want to get a Satin paint for 100,000, they'll be jumping and they'll go to the market, straight up, buy the chemical, produce it, and then they take it to the customer or their client, and that is it. And if they make profit of 30,000 or 20,000 or 40,000, they are okay. Yes, that is great. You can even make profit of 50,000. But do you know the costing properly? Do you just want to be a hustler? Don't you want to make a living with this, your business? Like building a mini factory, expanding, having an outlet where people can buy your product, or even giving people your product to sell and then you get profit. You understand? So that is what I'm going to be teaching you. I'm not only going to teach you how to produce paint, because that is not what paint is all about.